Welcome, Drea, to Dating Intentionally. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I've been wanting to do this for a long time and meet you and all the things.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of Hey Babe, Can We Talk? Can you tell us just a little bit about why you wanted to start that?
Yeah, I feel that the way that I date was feeling really unique and I was feeling like nobody else was going through the things that I was going through. And so I wanted to talk about it so that people that are dating like I do with their hearts on their sleeves, they don't feel alienated. So that was really the motivation behind it. So people can see that there are people who are lover girls, lover people, and that they aren't alone and you're not crazy.
I love it. I love it. I feel like we have similar journeys. Like I started my show kind of for a similar reason. Like I wanted to help people have fun, but that also comes with feeling less alone and feeling like you're not crazy, like you just said. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even if you might be doing some things that people would label as that, it's like, I get it. I get your brain. I'm here for you. And I've done the same thing.
Yeah, we're not perfect. We can read all the books, listen to all the podcasts. Sometimes we still ignore those red flags for sure.
Burning bright. And I'm like, what are you doing for
Yes. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, can you tell me a little bit about what your approach to dating is right now?
My approach to dating now is a lot different than it was in my 20s and even some of my 30s. I think back in the day, it was as simple as, oh my God, he's so cute. And now it's, yeah, that's great that he's cute, but what are his values? What are his intentions? What is his life plan? Does he want a family? Those are the ways that I'm dating now. I'm going a lot slower than I used to, even though there is this biological pressure. I ask specific things. And it is interesting because if you don't want anything serious, then men tend to, because I'm heterosexual, date younger because we aren't asking those questions then. And as you get older, you want to get more serious. And now I'm in that stage where I'm like, what is going on with you? How do you treat your mother? Do you put the grocery cart back? Because it's
These are
like
the things that matter.
these are the things that matter. And my mom would say, you can't stay in the bed all day. If he's hot and got abs, that's great, but love doesn't pay the rent, honey. And it doesn't.
I mean, she's right. She's
Yeah.
right.
So it's
Yeah.
different now. How do you manage your money? Who are your friends? These are the bigger questions in life where character and values are weighing more than like, oh my God, he's so hot. That helps, but you know what I mean.
It helps. It's important. We want to be attracted to our person.
Yes.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you're taking like a very direct approach to getting to know someone, it sounds like, while also like you are aware of the slow burn. You said you want to go a little slower. But can you tell me like how do you approach those conversations? Because those are like big questions. Do you just flat out ask them on a date?
Well, so in that journey of transitioning to that, I was very direct, but then I got a little exhausted with it because it is a lot of pressure to go on these dates and think every single time, are you my husband? Is it you? Are you the
Yes.
one? And men can feel that energy. And sometimes if their light isn't on, as I say, because sometimes men are ready to go. They want a kid, they want to do the thing. If you catch them with their light on, if you catch them with their light off, they're like, okay, girl, I just want to have an
Yeah.
appetizer, have a little drink, and go home. Like I'm not trying to do all of this. So I kind of
Right,
gauge
right.
it, and now I am very direct in general. I'm always that way. I'm super Virgo. I don't got time to waste. So like, what is going on here? Even when I wasn't like fully in that space, I still was very direct with like what I wanted. And so I don't have any problems with that. I'm not one of those women that dances around things. So before I even get to the date, there's a whole vetting process of we're on the app because that's usually how I'm meeting people. And then we're on the phone. And within that phone conversation, which usually transitions into a FaceTime, then I'm kind of like, hey, before we take each other's time and get to a date, these are some of the spaces that I'm coming from, like where are you kind of at with dating? And a lot of times I find out men are like, oh, I'm just kind of seeing where it goes. I'm like, like,
That's
see,
so frustrating.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not in that space. Like I'm dating intentionally and I want to have a plan. Not that even if we decide to be in a relationship, it doesn't mean it's the end all be all, but our intentions are that we want to have a life together and not just have a casual hookup and you're doing this with other people. Like I'm not in that space.
You're speaking my language. I want to get a little bit more into your vetting process. So you are meeting people in the apps primarily. You are messaging with them. How long do you message people?
Girl, I don't got time. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're here for like a day or two max, but I'm not going to pen pal you all day. How's your day? You don't care about my day. I don't care about yours. Let's just keep it 100. Let's just get on the phone. Let me hear your voice and let's get on with it. So 2 days max. And I'm like,
Okay.
here is my phone number. Get on the phone. I'm done. And a lot of women don't move that fast. They're kind of like, I don't know you. Let's stay on the apps. And I don't do all that. Just like get on with it.
How do the guys react to that?
The right ones that I end up on the dates with are totally fine with it. But then there are people who that's a little too fast for them. Maybe they just got out of a relationship, which you do find a lot on these dating apps. And so they maybe just need the validation of a contact versus like actually getting to know people. So you kind of weed people out pretty quickly when you're like, hey, here's my number. Let's just get off the app. And sometimes people are like, great. And they'll text you right away. And then other people are like, oh, I'll text you on Friday. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. What I love about this is you have a system, you have a way that's working, an approach that you're doing. You're not worried about if they like it, if you're going to
No,
scare people off, if
no.
like you're like, no, my type of person who I'm trying to see right now is going to get on board with this because you're not asking for too much. Doing a FaceTime before a date is totally reasonable. Like
Yes.
anyone listening who wants to try this out, you are like, will some people be turned off by this?
Yes.
Yes, but you don't want to date those people. That's okay. Drea, like I had two virtual quote dates with my husband before we met in person. It was more because we were not in the same location. It was forced, but it was great. We had that. If our first one didn't go well, I wouldn't have to ever see him ever again. Like,
Exactly. But I think
yeah,
it's such a beautiful thing to kind of, especially when you are versed in online dating, because sometimes people don't know and they haven't had their time kind of spent in spaces that they didn't need to be in. Because some people are like, well, why do we need to FaceTime? Let's just meet in person. Because I'm like, that's gas and makeup, buddy. Like I don't
yeah,
want to just go meet you just for the sake of meeting you. Like I want to kind of cross some things off. And it's not like it's an interview. I always want to let men know that it's just I already have done this so many times. I kind of already know. I don't want to just go see. I'm like,
yeah.
and by the way, catfishing's a real thing. Let me see what you look
Yes. To anyone listening who someone asks you for a FaceTime, just know that it's not like a big deal. It can just be a quick 15, 20 minute. Like, how long do these last?
like. It can even be 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just give me like a little bit of a feel. I've had FaceTime because I can talk to anybody all day that go for like hours, sometimes. But the shortest one was probably 15 minutes because he was really uncomfortable. And he was like, I don't know how to hold the phone. And all of a sudden everyone's just like they're a kid. And I'm like, you don't know how to hold the phone? You're 45 years old. Like, what are you talking about? This is weird.
That would
You know what I
turn me
mean?
off so much.
you know and it does because it's like just what are we're adults, we're online
Yeah,
dating, just and then you can kind of tell where people are if they're green in terms of they don't really know what they're doing, and the process is really new to them, but I've had some experience. So
for sure. So what are you looking for in the FaceTime that, will make it so that you actually get to a date with them?
well, one, it is really telling because we're now looking at each other, right? And I feel like you can tell a lot about their facial expressions. People feel really exposed, and I want to see how somebody handles that. And then just the conversation and the flow, because if we get in person, it could be totally different. And now look, you can get in person and it is totally different as well, but at least you have like a little bit of a gauge of who this person is. Sometimes I'd be looking in the background, girl. I'm like, what's going on in the
What's
background?
going
What's
on?
going
Yeah.
on? I don't like those. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was just looking around. I'm like, oh, those towels are ugly.
No, you're so right. Like, it's a
Yeah,
great way to get some intel on their, where are they choosing to FaceTime you? Where are they choosing to make that first impression?
exactly. And sometimes I've had to say, buddy, up right here, not under the nostrils. Let's move it up.
Yeah,
Okay. Like, that's not how we do this. Okay. I like to add a lot of humor to things, but you can get a flow of the conversation because somebody could be great in text. And then when we're talking and maybe they don't have chat GPT to help them, it's a different person. Okay.
So, okay, but when you're on the date with them, like, what's your approach? Like, what do you hope to come away from a first date with? Like, what kind of information?
A husband, ideally, but
No, no. I mean, like, what do
No,
you
no,
want
no,
to
I'm
know
joking,
about
I'm joking, I'm
them?
joking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
From the first date, I'm thinking about chemistry. I'm thinking
Okay.
about, are they listening to me, Talia? Because a lot of these people just want to hear themselves talk and they don't ask you questions. There's no feedback, there's no follow up, and it blows my mind that I'm sitting
Yeah.
here asking you stuff, and at no point do you go, "Oh, Drea, how many siblings do you have? Where did you grow up?" This guy's like, "Yeah, so anyway, I grew up in," and I'm like, "Oh, you're still going. This is and at the end of the day, he's like, "Wow, it was really great." And I'm like, "Because you heard yourself talk the entire time, And
Yep.
I'm always cognizant of that. And I look at food etiquette. If there's a last bite
Ooh, tell
or
me
we
more.
shared something, to me, it's indicative of other things if they just mindlessly eat and they don't even ask you, "Oh, did you want that?" or whatever. Like I'm paying attention to all of that. I'm big on
Yeah.
manners. I'm from Texas. There's just certain things that like are important to me, and I want to feel like a lady. I know we're in more modern times, and I'm all about that life. I call myself a medicinal woman. I'm modern and traditional. I'm like, I still want to go open my
Medicinal.
door. Yeah. It's a little combo.
Oh, I like that. I want to get more into that, but first I want to ask you on the food things. I think this is important. What's
Hmm.
like one of the weirdest or what like just kind of out of left field food thing you've seen on a date that made you just go like, "What?"
Well, we went to get ice cream. We got our own individual cups. Okay.
Okay.
And he was pretty much done with his, didn't even offer me a bite. And then I offered him some of mine, but he like took my cup and was talking and just kept eating, Talia. Just kept eating. And I'm looking at him like,
Jail. Right to jail.
straight to jail. Call the police right now. And I was like, and I'm getting so irritated. First of all, it's salted caramel, my favorite ice cream of all time. And he's just eating and eating. And I literally was like, give it back. Like,
Wait, so
what's
is he
happening?
holding his and yours and eating it? Like, what were you
He
doing? What were
finished
you?
his basically. And then I'm thinking he's going to have a bite and be like, here you go. But girl, he just kept talking. And I was like, give me my
But
ice
then did
cream
he give
back.
it back to you?
No, I had to take it back.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
awkward.
So awkward. But it was like our second date. And I kind of was thinking to myself, I don't like this because I'm not saying that because sometimes men will hear this like, oh, she wants to be treated like a princess. It's like, no, it's just manners, first of all, of like, she offered me some, I'm going to give it back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think it's like an unspoken rule that if someone's offering you something, you take a bite. You don't want it to be too big of a bite or too small, like just a normal bite, and then you give it back.
Yeah.
Take a few French fries. Okay, whatever, fine. But like,
But
you know,
and it's fine. But then I found out just through more conversation, this guy was giving selfish in other
hmm
areas of his life and in
yeah.
conversation. And I was like, okay, this is why the ice cream thing may not seem like a big thing, but it was indicative of other things.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of dinner first dates for a lot of the reasons we've
Oh,
already
I don't do
talked
that.
about. Yeah, but I think incorporating food into the early dating, like whether it's sharing appetizers, getting ice cream, going to a food truck, that can be a good way to kind of figure someone out. I have one crazy one I can share with you that I still think it haunts me to this day. It's not
What?
going to sound that bad, but like I'm talking enough. But this guy, we had a dinner first date, and it was what you were saying. He was not asking me anything, kind of monologuing, which was already bad. But then the cherry on top was we got dessert. Like he wanted to get dessert. We ordered churros. Okay, it was a Mexican
Okay.
place. I love churros. But I
Love
was
a
full. I
churro.
didn't finish them. There was like half a churro left. He's like, "Are you gonna finish that?" I'm like, "No, no, no, you can go for it." And he's like, "No, I'm good, but like I don't want to waste food." I'm like, "I'm good." And that went on for about a minute, just back and forth like that. And I'm like, "Well, do you want to?" He was like, "Well, why don't we take it to go?" And I'm like, "I don't
For
want."
half a churro?
Yeah, he like was like pushing it on me. I don't like. I'm not a big like taking home food kind of person. Like I just
It's
they can
over.
compost it. I don't know.
Right.
I just don't want it. Like whatever. He was like, I don't want to waste it. I'm like, that's wonderful. Why don't you take it? Like
You
it was
take the
just
churro
the
home then, buddy.
weirdest. It was just like the food pushing. He was like kind of pressuring me. Felt so icky to me, and I was like, absolutely not.
It's indicative of other things.
And of course, he was like, that was so well, and he like asked me out the next day, and I'm like, dude, no, that was like the worst. That
Isn't
was
that
the worst date I had been
crazy?
on. That
Like
yeah.
churro gate, you're like, I'm good.
And to tell you the truth, we did, yeah, exactly. To tell you the truth, we did have a phone call before the date. The conversation was fine. Like sometimes you're going to do things like you're going to follow what Drea is saying or what I'm saying, and it's not really going to lead to a great date. That's okay. It's going to happen.
And that's part of dating. And I think when I was early on dating, especially online, I had such high hopes for every date. And it's like part of dating is are things not working out. It's a process. And I think sometimes we forget that. It's a process.
Yeah.
Every date's not going to be your husband.
So how do you personally deal with that? Like when things don't work out, what's your approach?
Nowadays it's file it and forget it because I don't want to force anything and I'm super sensitive to energy. If I feel anything is off, there's a pattern change, there's a text tone change. Okay, bye. Good day. Good day, sir. You know, like
Really?
yeah, because like you asked me about my podcast earlier, right? And I know the levels that I can go to with someone if I really like them. And so I have to be so careful. I used to give my energy out all the time. Like I thought I liked someone. I didn't really do a lot of investigating. I would invest and pour into immediately.
Mm,
But I know once
yeah.
I pour in, I have a really hard time disentangling myself. So if you're going to try to switch up on me and any you now all of a sudden you're not texting me till 3 p.m. before you were texting me in the morning, or there's a tone of like, oh, I've been, if you say the B word to me, I'm busy. Good day.
What is your form of good day? Is it like, are you sending a text or are you just not talking to them anymore? What's
I think it
the
depends on the situation.
move?
I do like to clear things up, you know,
Okay.
if the person's still reaching out to me. But sometimes, you know, in dating, sometimes things just kind of disappear on everybody's end and nobody says anything and everybody's fine. Right. But if someone's
Yeah.
asking me out, I will be honest and say, hey, like I'm feeling a little bit off right now. And I don't think this is a good situation for me. Or if I go on a first date and they're continuing to ask me out and I don't want to, hey, thank you so much for the date. Not feeling like a romantic match for me. Take care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you're sensitive to these shifts and everything, but you're not like mean about it. You're not just gonna
No.
go someone. You're
Mm-mm.
gonna let them know. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I like that. Have you noticed like what have been the reactions to that?
You learn a lot about people when you do things like that, Talia, because sometimes people get
Yeah.
their egos hurt and they like to send you a snarky text back, you know, or they will say, you know, for instance, with this current Berlin situation, I had some dates set up and then I met someone and we continued on. And so I let this other person know, hey, I met someone because he had kind of disappeared a little bit before I went to Berlin. And so I was like, okay, whatever. But then he reached out while I was in Berlin and I didn't answer the first text, but then he texted me again. And then I said, hey, just so you know, I met someone. This is what's going on. Lovely to chat with you. Take care.
I swear to God, there's something about like when we get into a new relationship with someone or something, all they all it's like a dog whistle. It's like they come back. Whenever I get that snarky text back, like when I have gotten that back, it's always like proves myself right. Right. It's like, of course, I'm making the right decision of moving on from this person because they're butthurt about this. Like,
Exactly. And I love that, you know, you don't know anything about somebody when things are going right. You learn about people when things are going wrong. That is when you're like,
exactly.
that's why no any relationship I'm in, it's all just unicorns and lollipops until we get into our first rupture. And then it's like, okay, here we go. That's who
Yep.
I'm with.
But that's why you do want to speak up about things and you don't want to shrink yourself and not share how you feel about certain things because you're not going to find that out if you're just constantly hiding and trying to not rock the boat.
Well, girl, I will rock a boat. And I say
Yeah.
things in relationships that a lot of my friends at times will say, Dre, you can't say that. And I'm thinking to myself, why?
Yeah.
I don't play the game. I've never been like this since I was probably 12 years old. I remember just wearing my heart on my sleeve and everyone's like, you got to play it more cool and this and that. And I'm like, I'm not cool. You know, I'm never going to
I'm
be
not cool
cool.
either.
I don't
Nope.
know how to do it. And I always tell men, if you need me to not like you for you to like me, I'm not your girl. I'm not doing that.
No.
Like if I like you, I'm clear. Laser focused.
I love it.
It's you, buddy.
Love it.
I'm in.
So speaking of liking someone, can we talk about your current connection? What's going on? Can you tell us a story about Mr. Berlin?
Yeah, we'll call him Mr. Berlin. So I was feeling really flustered with things in LA and just our country in general. And I was thinking, I'm moving to Europe. That's it. I'm out of here. And so, so
I feel
dramatic.
you.
So dramatic. And so I changed my hinge to Berlin, and I was already going to Europe anyway. And I thought to myself, let me just see what's happening over there. And so I connected with someone who was really open to chatting on WhatsApp. And what I found is some men over there were like, why don't you just call me when you're in Berlin? Because you're not here. And it was like 3 weeks out. So
That's
I
fair.
understood, and then there was a couple guys that were like wanting to talk, but then it kind of fizzled out. But there was this one person who we had a FaceTime and we just really hit it off. And then we FaceTimed again, and then we FaceTimed again, and then it's hours of FaceTime, and then that's all I'm doing. And then now I'm getting excited about going to Berlin to meet this person versus the original plan was just to go to Berlin, see the city, go on some dates. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But then it turned into a really intense, beautiful connection. And then, yeah, I spent most of Berlin with this person. Yeah, it was really great.
I want to pause there for a second because we connected before you went to Berlin. And
Yeah.
Drea, I was sweating for you. I was like, because you were on the phone, you're like, Talia, like, we have been talking nonstop all day, and I'm trying to pump the brakes, but he's like, why? And I was like, oh no. But I wasn't actually.
Yeah.
I know you know what you're doing. But like, I think a lot of listeners can relate to this. And I want to highlight this for a second because finding someone in another state is one thing, or another city is one thing. Finding someone in another country is a whole other thing. And I think there's a lot of dating advice out there that's like, hey, that's unrealistic. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Like, it's
Yeah.
not going to work. But this isn't the first time that I've talked to someone who actually matched with someone in Germany and then went there and started dating them. So you're like the second or third person this year that has happened for. And I think that's wonderful. So can you tell me just kind of like what was going through your mind before you met? How did you stay grounded?
Well, I was really nervous before we met, right? There's a lot of buildup. We're having a lot of conversations, we're connecting, but you don't know until you meet someone. You don't know how you're going to feel, the chemistry is going to be. I'm really sensitive to smells and pheromones. And if somebody's pheromones are off, I'm out. I can't do it. So I was really nervous about these things, but our connection was so great that I thought, and listen, I've been dating in LA. I've been dating here. I've tried all the things and I still technically was at that time, but it just wasn't working. And so I decided to focus on this person because it was such a unique and special situation. And I'm such a romantic at heart. And I feel if you meet somebody in this crazy world planet that we live on to connect with, it is a really beautiful thing. Now, we're still getting to know each other. It's still very new, but from what we have decided and what we feel now, we're committed to getting to know each other and focusing on just each other. But it is difficult. The cultural differences are real.
Hmm.
German people are a little bit, we're American. I'm a little louder than when we went to a restaurant over there and I was like, why is everybody whispering? He's like, it's just you're
Yeah.
American. Like everybody's so quiet.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Me and my cackle in Germany, I'm like, la, la, la.
It's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but like it sounds like you're confident at this point in the decision to get to know each other, let it play out. Yeah, there's differences. I mean, you're going to have challenges with anyone you meet anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you are going to have challenges. And the thing is, when you find someone and you feel a connection, you're going to have hurdles no matter what. And when you are in a long distance relationship, there is a lot more effort that does need to go into it. But the beauty of it is, it slows things down and speeds things up because you are talking and you don't have the luxury of like, oh, just come over. Let's just hang
Yeah.
out. Let's just get dinner. It's like we're, like you said, the virtual dates, like we're doing things online and it changes things a little bit, a lot of bit. And I've done a lot of long distance, never in another country, a lot of like state to state stuff. So I already am versed in the dynamics. And when you do have a rupture, you really got to put the work in. And these situations really show you where you are in your work. And so anybody that's listening, you're doing work, if you are in a long distance relationship, it really taps into where you really are, because when you don't have the luxury of physical connection, I don't just mean like intimacy, just like touch, you start to think, you're like, whoa, what am I doing? Do I really want to do
Right.
this? You know what I mean? Because he's in
Yeah.
Germany, there's a 9 hour time difference. you know
Oh,
those
yeah.
things, I'm waking up, he's going to bed.
I want to talk a little bit about that dynamic for a second, but back to the app situation, like when you hopped on the apps in Berlin, even though you were in LA. How did they react to that? Did you put it in your profile? Like, how did you do that part?
I just changed the location, but I didn't say anything. I didn't announce anything on
You didn't
Hinge.
say like I'm visiting Berlin. So
No.
when someone realized you weren't physically there, like what was their reaction? Was it mostly chill? Was it some of the negative? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, so people, when they found out I wasn't in Berlin, it was interesting. They would ask questions like, are you remote hinging? Are you coming here basically to like hook up and just go on a few dates? You know what I mean? Or some people were like totally down with it. They're like, oh yeah, great. Call me when you get here. It was a lot of mixed reactions. And then some people were completely like, absolutely not. Like I'm good. Like
Yeah.
you're not
Okay.
here, which I understand.
Yeah, I asked because I think like this comes up a lot. Like people do ask me like I might be moving here. When do I set my location? And I think it's kind of like the Wild West. Do what you want, be upfront about what's happening, and just expect some people will be on board and some won't, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
Like,
And that's like,
yeah.
that's the beauty of this thing. If it's not a match, just don't force these things, right? So that's not the guy. And I get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see somebody and they're really cute and you kind of want to bend to whatever that person's doing, you know what I mean? You get a little caught up in that. But,
Yeah.
I was thinking about moving there. So that was another reason why Mr. Berlin was like, "Oh, okay, let me kind of see what's going on here." Cuz he was very like, "Are you just coming here to like hang out for like a couple of days and then you're going back?" And I was like, "No, I mean, I if I meet someone, possibilities are
Wow.
open."
Amazing. So okay, let's get back to the long distance stuff. So before you guys met, were you just talking on the phone? What else were you doing?
Yeah, we were just talking on the phone and FaceTiming
Okay.
all the time. Any free time, it was cutting into both of our work lives a bit. And it's so interesting with him because we're mirrors of each other. And so I'm dating myself, which is an interesting journey. And I'm seeing how I've shown up in relationships and my attachment style and things like that. So it's been an interesting month for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So,
Yeah.
what was it like to actually meet?
My heart, Talia, was beating so fast. And so he met me at the airport and he sent me a picture of where he was. And I thought I walked out of the right door. So I'm looking around for this tall man, but he was like a little bit further down. So I call him and I'm like, I don't see you. And he's like, how do you not see me? I'm like, I don't know. I don't see you. And so like, it's like he turns and we see each other and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And he's like getting closer and getting closer and getting closer. I'm like, hello. And we purposely made it like funny, awkward. I said, hello there, sir. How are you? I'm Drea. And I put my hand out. He was like, stop
Oh my
it.
God. Did you guys kiss?
Yeah, we did. We did. And
Oh.
he had a gift for me, and I had a card for him, and it was really, really sweet.
And pheromones, good?
Yeah, the pheromones are great. Like, he smells amazing. But I definitely was like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Whew.
yeah, yeah, you gotta look, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I had a really similar situation with my husband. We didn't were talking in virtual dating, like we had a few virtual calls and stuff. We weren't FaceTiming constantly, but it's different because like he was moving to Seattle where I was living. So
Ah,
I knew he was
okay.
gonna be there. Like he already had an apartment and a job when we matched. Otherwise, I
Oh,
wouldn't have entertained
okay.
it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I would have been
yeah.
like, no. And yeah, when I met him in person, there was definitely that like, okay, I like talking to you, but how do we actually vibe? I think the smell is a really big, important thing. And like just being in their presence, I don't know what it is. It's an energy thing. It's like just, and yeah, all the things.
Well,
So
you got to
there
see how
can
your
be,
body feels. I'm really conscious of the somatic
yeah,
response. Like, is my chest tight? What's happening in my mind? Do I feel comfortable? Is this person like,
yeah,
there's so many things.
yeah. Okay. So what is your advice for someone who might want to attempt what you attempted? Like switching up their location, talking to someone long distance, and then actually meeting them? Like, were there any safety precautions? What's your advice?
My advice would be you got to think outside the box. If you're somebody who is just living your life very tightly in the box. You're not open to like things like, because some people aren't like that. Like I have people in my family, they would never do the things that I do. They find these things to be really odd. They don't make any sense. So you got to have a little bit of a colorful personality. You got to understand too, and this is something I learned in real time, really think about the cultural differences if you can handle that. I learned very quickly I am a warm weather girly. I am not a cold weather girly. I get very stressed. I don't like it. These things may not seem like a big deal, but they are a big deal. cultural things. I think about meeting his family and the language barrier. These are all really real things. Love is great and feelings are great and the pheromones and all that's wonderful. But life is going to be there. So really think
Yeah,
about what that means for you. I advise to do some research around the city if that's somewhere you want to live. And then as far as like safety precautions, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to Google people, got to ask some questions. I felt really comfortable with him because we had a lot of time. I got to know his schedule. I did get to see a lot of stuff in the background of his home. So I felt safe and comfortable with him. But you do got to be careful, right? I had my own place in Berlin. I
yeah,
didn't just go stay with him or anything like that. Like he took me to my place, did his thing. We had our separate
that's
spaces.
perfect.
I think that's super important. I would not recommend just being like, oh, come stay with me. Like, I don't recommend that
Yeah.
because you don't know. You might get there and be like, I'm going on another hinge date tomorrow. See ya.
Yeah. When you meet someone for the first time long distance, it's really important to not stay with them for so many reasons. I mean,
So many reasons.
it's not just safety, it's also just like protecting your heart. I've heard of so many situations where that this happens, but they stay together and it's like a love bombing situation where both of them are kind of at fault for that.
Absolutely.
And also you can get really exhausted. It's a lot of energy. It's very draining to spend that much time with someone you don't know. Did you get like a post visit kind of blues?
Yeah, I did. And I did because we spent a lot of time together. And then you start to feel like you're living together, right? Even if
That's
it
what I
was
mean.
separate places, you get into like a little bit of a routine and then you start to learn that person's pattern. So when I got back and I woke up, I was like, oh, he's not here. Like we
Yeah.
didn't, we got into like a little morning thing and he's very regimented and schedule wise. And I learned that I am a squirrel and I am not. I'm just like, we'll figure it out. Like, I don't know. And he's like, calendar this at this time. And I'm like, take a breath, calm down.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like you guys are like complement each other. That's nice. You mentioned a few times that you have anxious attachment. So I feel like long distance and having an anxious attachment can be a really tough mix. How are you handling that part?
Well, when you're dating somebody who has a similar attachment style, it makes things a lot easier,
So
actually.
he's anxious as well.
He has a bit of anxious in him as well. Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
seeing a lot of myself. And what's happening for me is it's making me weirdly more secure because I don't feel the normal things of I haven't heard from him. I don't know what he's thinking. He's changing his vibe. I remember being like, I made a joke when I got back a couple days. I'm like, you still like me? He's like, yeah, a lot. Do you still
Oh.
like me? You know,
Oh.
um, because my brain, I'm just, unfortunately, I've had a lot of awful experiences with dating, and I'm just kind of used to there being like some, hey, yeah, I'm good. Something, and I'm
Yeah.
like, there it
Yeah.
is. Granted, we're still early on, but what I'm confident about at this point is that he's committed to getting to know me and he's not trying to tap out. And so with that energy, when you're anxious, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, my inner child's like, this is cool, you know?
Yeah. Wait, I
Yeah.
love this so much. I want to really get into this because like what you said that you guys are he's a mirror of you and you're
Mhm.
starting to see how you're reflected in that. And yeah, having the similar attachment styles, even if you're both anxious, can create more safety. I think there are a couple different combinations of attachment styles that don't work, but I do think if you both have anxious attachment, it can work. If you're
Yeah.
both willing to, you might over communicate a little bit. You might both need a lot of reassurance, but if you're both willing to step up and do it, it can work and you guys can reach that security. So I think that's wonderful. And I hope that it gives people listening, if you have anxious attachment style, hope it gives you hope.
Yeah, because it makes you feel like you're not crazy in a sense, and
Yeah.
somebody kind of understanding your brain and those little nuances where and if you do have anxious attachment, you know that the things that you pick apart when you're dealing with someone that's avoidant or like they don't understand, they're like, why are you? It's been 30 minutes. What are you talking about? Nothing's
Yeah.
happened. But somebody who's anxious is like, hey, I get it. That probably felt a little unsafe for you, and maybe that overall isn't like my stuff, but I can sit here with you and we can walk through it. And you're like,
Oh,
okay, Thanks.
I love it. And just yet another point towards being open and honest and seeing how they react because you wouldn't have known that he would react that way if you hadn't said anything. So, like, I always say, like, you can ask for reassurance and validation in relationships, it's fine. Needing it constantly is where you need to look into something, you need to
Because
work
it's
on it a little
you,
bit.
it's your stuff,
Yeah.
you know? And I think
Yeah.
one of the biggest gifts that I've gotten from the work I've done is realizing what's mine, what's theirs, and then what's ours. And before it was like this little messy soup. And I would just be like, fix my trauma, sir. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's my stuff. So being able to recognize, ooh, I'm having abandonment stuff coming up right now. This is not yours. So I'm just letting you know. I know that it's mine, but it's happening, and then that
Oh,
person
that's
then
so
not
good.
taking the experience being like, oh, that's on you, being like, oh, hey, I hear you. It's like your inner child speaking. And I feel so strongly about this because that is like the biggest gift that you can give to someone. And you're right, it's not a sense where you got to do it all the time, but just knowing where you're not scared to do it then will relax you in a way where it just naturally isn't happening all the time. Because if it is an hour you haven't heard from the person, somebody who's like super anxious, you then know you can kind of check in about it and it's not going to be an explosion.
So true. I love this so much. And I love that you're taking these risks. Like, you're really putting yourself in the hardest situation, I think, for someone with anxious attachment style. Like, this is like real long distance, the time difference, and everything is tough. But you did mention something earlier that I thought was really good, which is like, you don't doubt his and your investment in getting to know each other. And it's not about, we're going to be together forever, or this is my husband, or
Mhm.
whatever. It's like, no, right? The step we're investing in right now is getting to know each other. Then we can figure out if we want the next step.
Exactly. Like we're seeing each other and we're just starting there. And this is the first time in a long time that I felt, first of all, that I believe the person, right? You know, and there he's telling the truth because his actions are showing that. But then there's this other part, Talia, that, I don't think we do talk about enough is that when somebody does show up for you and you're not used to that, that's a whole soup in your
It's a
brain
mind fuck.
too, where you're like, wait, you're still calling me? Why? Why are you doing
Yeah.
that? What is this? He's like, well, I like you. I'm like, uh-huh. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Amazing. So when are you guys have plans to see each other again?
Yeah, we have our next plans coming up next month and then for sure for New Year's.
Well, I'm excited to get the update when that happens. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay, Drea, so this has been so great, but I want to shift gears here and get into our dating dilemma. Are you
Yeah.
ready? This is a question that came in from a listener that I'd love to go through with you.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Hi, Talia. I'm 26. I moved from Latin America to Europe about a year and a half ago. I joined Hinge hoping to meet someone kind, supportive, even though I felt nervous without my usual support system here. That's a good point, too. You don't have a support system.
Yes.
I dated a few people, some ghosted, some were too forward, but one guy stood out. He wasn't my usual type, but we clicked right away, and I decided to stay open minded. Things moved quickly. We became intimate after a few weeks, and now we're spending weekends together and even took a road trip. He's invited me to spend Christmas with his family, but we never talked about exclusivity. Lately, I've noticed he's less attentive. Small things like not walking me to the train or checking in as much, and I still haven't met any of his friends. I like him, but I'm not sure how I feel since I've never been in a serious relationship before. Part of me wants to see where this could go and learn from it. My question is, should I give it more time to see if something deeper develops or take my uncertainty as a sign to step back?
Well, I'm shook that they aren't exclusive. This is what is stressing me out. I
Well,
think you should
yeah.
take your gut because the more you invest and you wait and see, if you're already getting signs, either have the conversation and address it, or if you don't want to, I would say you got to step out. It doesn't sound good.
Usually when something is going well, it's going to ramp up, right? You're going to spend more time together. They're never going to skip walking to the train unless they absolutely have to for some reason.
No.
Like, they're going to be more attentive. That's why the slow burn is so important, like we've been talking about, because if you start at level 10, you can't go up from there. You can only go down.
Yeah.
And I want to just point out, like, she's 26, never been in a relationship before. It's okay to
Okay.
fumble a little bit. It's okay. It's part of the process, as we were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely part of the process. I mean, you saw Drea dating in her 20s. I mean, oh my God, no, no,
Yeah,
thank you.
right?
And so that takes a level of pressure off of it too. And so being open to other experiences, this is like your first connection also in a different place. So I would be more open to saying, hey, this has been an interesting experience. I'm going to tap into something else. And even though it may not seem like a big thing to walk into the train, that's a big thing. That is
Yeah,
indicative
I
of something else.
what do you think of the I'm inviting you to spend Christmas with my family, but we're not exclusive?
That's mixed messaging to me, and things
Yeah.
like meeting family, I understand deeply the impact those things can have on me. I can't do something like that. I can't connect with you. And what does that mean? We're not exclusive, so we're going to spend Christmas, but then you go on a date. I can't handle things like that, so I'm out. I'm not going to Christmas unless we're exclusive.
I would ask, like, is Christmas really casual at your family? Like maybe it's just like a really like, oh, everyone comes, all my friends, whatever. It's just open. I don't know. I don't celebrate Christmas, so I don't know like
If
what the
I'm
deal
meeting
is,
your
but
mother and your family and your friends, that has weight to me. Even if it
yeah.
is casual, you would just then need to ask yourself, what does this mean for you? Because some people are like that, like, come meet my family. This is not indicative of a deeper connection. This is just like, we're dating at this time. You can come if you
Yeah.
like. Maybe I like you the most, so I asked you to come versus the other person.
Ooh. Never thought about that, but that's true. That's
Yeah, because if
true.
we're not dating exclusively, maybe she's at the top of the roster, and that's great. But there
Right.
is a
Right.
roster possibly that you are also navigating, and I would want nothing to do with that. That's me. But you have to be honest with yourself. And if you're having these gut feelings, usually,
You
it's,
gotta listen to it. I agree with you.
yeah,
I think, yeah, I think like if I was her, if I was 26 in this situation, I would take this opportunity to practice communication and call it out before moving on, but like ultimately knowing in the back of your head that you're gonna move on.
yeah, I wouldn't say just like wipe your hands
Yeah,
of it.
just
I would have the conversation. But you know what?
yeah.
It's always like you don't want to say that in this never in an ultimatum way and then they go, "Oh yeah, 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 okay, I'll do it." You want these things to come from them naturally, you know?
100%, 100%. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate you answering this. I love hearing from listeners and what they're going through, and also like you sharing your story. It's just like you're not alone. Everyone's going
No.
through this stuff. It's hard to navigate. There's so many different layers to all of this stuff. Like we talked about attachment, we talked about like vibes and FaceTiming, and like there's just so many different layers to everything. So, Drea, before we wrap up, can you just tell me, as another dating podcast host, what would you like to see more of in dating culture?
I would like to see more conversation around dating somebody who wants to be with you and what that feels like when you come from a history of awful experiences because and I'll speak for myself. I'm like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And the universe provides. And then I'm like, whoa, hold on. And then it's bringing up maybe that work that I still need to do. And so I'd love to see more of that. And then just the conversation around online dating and the expectations that we put on online dating and kind of just having more fun with it. Cause I know for me, I was taking it so seriously and there is an element of that depending on where you are in your life, but also just kind of like meeting people and being okay with that experience too.
Love it so much. I totally agree with both those things. The first thing you said is beautiful. It is so true. When you get what you ask for, and then when it shows up, sometimes you realize, oh shit, I'm actually not ready for this, or this is showing me more than I want to see about
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
Drea, where can we find more of you?
You can find me at Hey Babe Can We Talk on Instagram, Twitter, all the things. Hey Babe Can We Talk?
We'll link it in the show notes. Thank you so much
Yay.
for this conversation. It's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. It was so much fun.